The summer travel season is upon us, folks. May is here, and joining us now to talk about it is Cathi Banks from Legacy Travel.
Hello.
Cathi, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful top you've got on.
Oh,
That's a
thank
great
you.
color.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right,
Thank you.
right.
So when baby boomers or people of a certain age approach travel, are there different considerations?
There are. Baby boomers are finally getting to a time in their life when the primary consideration isn't the school calendar or oh, we only have just this much budget. I mean, everybody's on a budget,
Sure.
but, you know, at a certain stage of life.
Or I'm only on vacation for this many days.
Right, number
Yeah.
of days off, how long you can be gone, your responsibilities at home. So there are different considerations. Usually the considerations for a baby boomer are things like, well, what do I really want to do? What have I always wanted to do? What do I like better, rather than some of the budgetary and time constraints that they've had to consider earlier in their lives.
That's great.
What about trips, planned trips where there's a lot of walking involved? Do you distinguish between those kinds of trips for baby boomers, maybe where there's less walking opposed to more?
Yeah, it's all a matter of, you know, what are you physically equipped to do?
Right.
Even on, let's say, the quintessential motor coach tour that you've always
Right.
imagined, you know, people going on it in that stage of life, they rate them by, you know, more active and less active and how much movement is involved. For instance, a year ago, November, I went on a river cruise in the south of France. It was a wine-themed river cruise. We went from winery to winery.
Let me know the next
every
time you're
day.
going on that one.
Oh,
What was the name of this
anytime.
cruise line?
Yeah.
It was Avalon River Cruise, and it was a cruise through Burgundy and Provence, and this particular sailing focused on wine.
Now, what's your number?
Write that down. Yeah, I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, no
Right.
kidding. Anyway, and every day when they had the different touring, they always had a certain group that was, what they call it, the easy walkers, I think. To
Right.
where if you felt like you couldn't keep up with others, or you just wanted to have a slower pace, then you just be a part of that group, and that was totally fine. So there's, based on your physical ability, you can choose a completely different vacation, like maybe a beach resort where the primary activity is relaxing. So there's a right choice for everybody.
Sure.
I just got off a cruise. It was Royal Caribbean, and there were a number of senior citizens. I loved it. So, you know, you go to dinner at a set time,
Sure.
and one couple, they all the way from Wales. I thought that was so neat.
Yeah.
They flew from Wales to Galveston to cruise the Caribbean, and we went to Belize, Honduras, and Cozumel. And I thought it was beautiful. I just feel like, you know, go and get rejuvenated. They loved it. They did
Yeah.
a lot of tours on the water, and
It always amazes me how we're so close to things here, but people come from all over the world.
I
I'm
was
leaving
shocked.
for Mexico next Thursday, and I go all the time. And there are people from Australia and England and just everywhere, and they come and stay for a couple of weeks at a time and fly for 15 hours to get there. And we're just so close to
Just
it,
to
we
start
take
the
it for
trip.
granted.
You mentioned Mexico. Safety comes to mind when you mention Mexico.
You know what? The resort areas of Mexico are wonderful and safe. I travel there myself. I take my children. In fact, just today I booked the summer vacation for my kids, and we're going to Mexico. And I highly recommend the resort areas of Mexico for anybody. I
And
have
they're
zero concern.
Probably more affordable now than ever because they need
think
to
so.
encourage more people to come.
You know,
Are they?
Cancun and the Riviera Maya. For instance, did you know that there are more five-star resorts in the Riviera Maya than there are in all of the Caribbean and all of Hawaii combined?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
name one. What's a good one? I know you can't be
The El Dorado Royale.
El Dorado Royale. Look at me, I'm keeping this up.
Make another note over there.
In the Maya,
Yeah. Make
Yes.
another.
El Dorado
exactly.
Royale.
Yeah.
So the demand in that area has really not dipped much to speak of
Okay.
at all.
Good to
The
know.
other resort areas of Mexico, like say Puerto Vallarta, for instance,
Acapulco.
especially out of Dallas this summer, Puerto Vallarta is a great deal. So if you're looking, well, I really want a low-price beach trip, that's one that you really ought to think about.
And airfares are pretty affordable now. They have
Right.
moderated some.
A little bit. And
Yeah.
here in Dallas, again, we have charters that go to Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Cozumel, where else? Costa Rica, Jamaica. And so those charter flights that operate during the summer, which is our high travel season,
Sure.
are wonderfully affordable.
You're not going to believe this. I got to tell you about this deal I got. I'm not pushing Royal Caribbean. I'm pushing waiting till the last minute.
Which is a strategy. That's a strategy for some people.
We'll talk about this. Go ahead.
It was kind of an accident, but we knew we were getting, our bosses were different on when you can go on vacation. So I said, look, I've got to go in the next 2 weeks. So we kind of watched both Carnival and Royal, Caribbean, And we watched it for 5 days. There's going to be $8.99 a person just for an outside cabin, no fancy suite. And we waited Thursday. The cruise was leaving on Sunday. It dropped to $3.99 a person.
Wow.
So we went for 7 days to those three, Belize, Honduras, and Cozumel for $3.99 a person. It was unheard of.
That is
the problem with that?
I know that's gambling.
Well, it is, but the other problem is that that worked out for you, and that's great. And now you're telling the whole city here. The problem is it doesn't work out for most
everybody.
people. But like the one person it works out for tells hundreds of people, and everyone else expects.
And I want to be honest, the next day it went right back up. We checked the next day, and it went right back up to $8.99. So
Viola, we need to call right now.
I think so. Before everybody finds out.
We thought we were trying to feel a certain level of outside cabins. I don't know.
Viola and I have some calls to make right now. Catherine Banks, thank you so much for coming in. We'll have you back on sometime real soon.
Seriously.
Perfect. I'll be there.
And we'll be right back. Stay here.
El Dorado, Brazil.